Now we will discuss serverless. Whenever we want to deploy our application, there are some requirements in order to deploy our application. Like where do we deploy our application? What kind of server? Either it is Apache or Nginx, Next.js, like that. And then what about OS? That is operating system. Like which operating system we need to use for our application, like Linux, Windows, Mac OS. And then we need to take care of scaling the applications, and also we need to ensure that it is always available for our customers. Think like what if you don't need to worry about the servers and just we need to focus on our application code only. Then we need to enter the world of serverless. So remember that serverless does not mean that there are no servers. So serverless for me is nothing but we don't need to worry about the infrastructure and on the scaling and the availability of the application. So these are all managed by the AWS. We need to pay for the number of requests only. We should not pay for serverless service. Instead, we need to focus on the code, and remaining all will take care by the AWS to serve millions of requests. So that is about serverless. So what is AWS Lambda? So before Lambda, we used to use EC2 servers with load balancers. Now, after AWS Lambda came into the market, we don't need to worry about the servers or about the scaling or availability of our application. We need to worry about our code. So we need to pay for what we use. Like we need to pay for the number of requests, number of that is duration of requests, and the memory consumed by our application. We need to pay for these. We need not to pay for using AWS Lambda service. So that is about AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda supports Java, these many languages: Java, Go, PowerShell, Node.js, C, Python, Ruby, and many lot programming languages supported by the AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda event sources. So these many event sources are there in the AWS Lambda. That is Amazon API Gateway, AWS Cognito, Amazon DynamoDB, database event, CloudFront, that is Lambda at the rate edge, step functions, Kinesis, SSS, simple service, that is simple storage service, and SQS, that is simple queue service, and simple notification service. So there are a lot of events sources in AWS Lambda. The list is endless. Next, we will see other compute services: Amazon Lightsail and Amazon Tabs. So there are some users for Amazon Lightsail. So if you want a pre-config development stack like Nginx, Mean, or Node.js servers, and that is a use case one. And another use case is if you want to run our websites on WordPress, Magneto, Plesk, and Joomla by using AWS, we can run our website on WordPress and other remaining platforms. So it is very low and it is predictable monthly prices. It is very less when compared to other services. Next is the Amazon Patch. Use case is nothing but we need to run our that is application computing workloads on AWS. So we use Amazon EC2 and Amazon Spot instances in order to run our application. So there are other services like AWS Cloud9, AWS Cloud Shell, and AWS Amplify. So if let's assume that a developer wants an IDE that can be accessed from any location using any browser, then they can go for AWS Cloud9. Cloud9 to allows you to code, run, and debug your code in a browser. So it supports various programming languages like Python, Java, JavaScript, Go. So there are many languages supported by the Cloud9. AWS Cloud Shell. So it's a, like an AWS user needing quick access to AWS services via command line without any setup on their local machine. Like in previous version, if you want to access AWS through command line, we need to set up AWS in a local machine. Now AWS has given access directly through a browser where we can use command line and execute commands using our browser, where we can access our resources like EC2 Lambda, ELB through browser. You can see here that the browser based shell that provides a secure way to manage AWS resources pre-authenticated with our AWS credential. So it includes a set of pre-installed tools. That is about Cloud Shell, AWS Amplify. So suppose a startup want to build and deploy a responsive web or a mobile application with authentication and API capabilities, then they can use AWS Amplify. So it enables developers to scale the application, that is either it is a web-based application or an ML-based application. They can build and deploy web and mobile application within hours. That's about AWS Amplify. So there are other some services, Amazon Code Catalyst, AWS Code Artifact. Example use case is nothing but suppose a team looking to quickly get started with an application on AWS. So faster planning, development, and delivery life cycle on AWS. So whenever someone want to deploy an application in normal servers, they need to have a blueprint like in which server, which operating system, which programming languages, and CI/CD, and we need to track of the issues and automation. So these are all managed by the Amazon Code Catalyst. So next is a Amazon Code Artifact. So if a software development team looking for a centralized repository to store and manage reusable codes, then they can go for AWS Artifact, Code Artifact. So it is a fully managed artifact repository service such as, so it is very secure and it also stores the code very securely, and they can publish and share software packages. So it has inbuilt package managers like Maven, Gradle, NPM, and pip. So this is about the AWS Code Artifact.